Just by way of an introduction, as Howard said, I'm Sharon Smith, CEO of Social Soup, and I'm just going to take a few minutes to set the scene for Geno before he gets up and does his magic, around what is influence? What are we talking about today? And why does it matter? Why does it matter in today's world of media and marketing? In answer, influence is the future of marketing. Big claim, bold claim, maybe. But if we consider the current landscape that we're all operating in, media is still fracturing at an increasing pace. The old model of advertising, it doesn't work anymore. There hasn't been a new emergent model that has been adopted. The consumer is in charge, albeit reluctantly. And there's a paradox of choice out there for consumers that they haven't really asked for. It's now more important, or considered to be more important, what a company does than what it says about itself in advertising. It's most important what people are saying about that company to really drive that story forward. And this is the backdrop for the current receding paradigm of disruption and interruption, as advertising was, to the current paradigm that frames media and marketing today of engagement. But moving on from there, the emergent paradigm being influence. But what is influence? Influence is about people and it's about place. Influence is the key to understand the right people, the right place, the right time. As we all know, media used to be simple. It used to be a linear process driven by awareness. Brands could buy awareness. Brands could buy dominance and own the narrative in the market. The reality is that influence is a complex system. It's not a linear system. There is no actual easy answer. Geno's going to tell us a bit more about that today. But understanding and harnessing influence is and does hold the key to unlocking the future of marketing and advertising. So the influence sessions, which is our first one today, is designed to advance the knowledge, discipline and application of influence. It could be a creative perspective, it's a planning discipline, it's simply a better approach to marketing. It's one that delivers a positive impact for both people and both brands. Over the last 11 years of running Pollinating Soup, Howard and I have had the great fortune of meeting lots of amazing and wonderful people, and many of you guys are here today, so we're very grateful that you're here. For me, one of the great amazing people that I have met over that time is Geno Church. I was fortunate enough to meet Geno in Vegas a couple of years ago on conference. They do say what happens in Vegas should stay in Vegas. But I think Geno is a pretty good thing to bring back from Vegas. He's definitely much better than a hangover and a tattoo. In fact, I mean, I think you did get a tattoo in Vegas, didn't you? Yeah. Maybe he can show that later. In fact, I mean, for me, Geno is the exact opposite of a hangover. He's uplifting, he's inspiring, and I think he's a breath of fresh air in the marketing world today. So let me quickly tell you a little bit about Geno. He is the inspiration officer of Brains on Fire, the agency that he runs and steers the ship over in the US. He has a huge heart, a large brain to run Brains on Fire, and has passion absolutely pouring out of his pores that allows him to, and his team, to transform the businesses that he works with. And if you actually look at some of Geno's work and look at some of the amazing case studies, you'll see the amazing work that Geno has done, and he's going to share some of that work with you guys today. Put simply, he is the best in the business at what he does. He likes uncovering the DNA of sustainable word-of-mouth movements and building them from the ground up. Reading his LinkedIn profile we've got to say what other people are recommending about Geno, if we're talking about influence. Someone mentioned in their recommendations that Geno is ultimately about people and how people should be treated. And I think he's going to tell us a bit more about how it's all about people today. He once was a glam rocker. Don't know if we're going to see pictures of that. But he's now got a day job as a blogger, an author of 2 books, which you're very fortunate to have the most recent one there. He's also authored a previous book called Brains on Fire, Creating Sustainable Word-of-Mouth Movements. He's also a talker, he tells us. So he's here today to talk about the passion conversation. So please welcome Geno Church.
Okay. Music always helps me with my nerves. How are you guys doing? Good. And thanks for coming, and I apologize. Last thing you want to hear is an amplified Southern accent first thing in the morning, so I apologize. Even though it seems to hear that everybody's wanted me to talk a lot, so I don't know what that's about, but anyway. Thank you guys so much, and it's an honor for you guys to trust me with kicking off your first influence session. So this is an honor. I love the work you guys are doing. So when I came over to Sydney to do some speaking with not-for-profits, which is what I'm here for, I reached out to these guys to see if there's anything I could do to meet some folks, because when you travel, you need to meet people and find how people do it where they live. So I'm Geno, and hello. This is my set of tags. My Twitter handle is @GenoChurch, and you can email me if there's anything you want to tell me, like I'm full of crap or whatever. Please do. So let's start out. I have a confession. And that first is that I'm actually not Catholic, but still this is the best photo I found of that. But I'm a social media agnostic, and I really, really hope that you guys are too. I think the problem is today is that because we love our technology so much, we're putting those tools and tactics first before people. And what ends up happening is that we start mimicking other people's best practices to become our next best practice. And that's what happens at WOMA quite a bit, is people jot down all these case studies, and then you see them implemented, and they're not true to their DNA and to the values that the brand has and its customers have. So mimicking is a big problem that we've got no matter where you live. So part of that is this, that it's all about check the box marketing, that we're going to check stuff off. We've got to be on Pinterest, check. We've got to engage our fans on Facebook, check. We've got to tweet fast and furiously, check. I call this, we can't say it because in the South we're supposed to be polite, but I call it the what the F syndrome. So, and if, I hope you get this, that this is WordPress, Twitter, and Facebook, so it works out perfect. So anyway, a lot of us are doing, and we've had some conversations with some folks before this, is that we're putting the what before the why. And thank goodness for Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, that some of us are starting to realize that it's not about what we do and how we do it. We've got to have a why. We've got to have a reason that we're there. And too many times, it's amazing how many brands and organizations have forgot the founder's story. And that's one of the things that we talk about in the book, is that one of the first things that we ask somebody when we start to work with them is, who was your first customer? And it's amazing what comes out of them. Sometimes it's tears, sometimes it's laughter, but we forget that. And we need to remember that. We all had a first customer, and that goes to the DNA of why we're in business. What is it that we're doing? So part of this problem is, no people, no soul, no passion. And that's the problem with technology. Again, I love it, but technology doesn't have these things. But because we have to remember that when a person touches a keyboard or a smartphone, that's a person and that's a touch point. So we believe the passion conversation is missing, that it's not the product conversation, it's the passion conversation. It's what people do with the stuff that you make or the organization that you have. There's a passion there instead of just the transaction that we sometimes get focused on. So that's what we talk about. I think there's a book for that. We try really hard to talk about passion. So let me cut this up and so we can hear the wise Master Yoda.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
And we really need to do that because as marketers, we went to school and it was about us, but Master Yoda says we must unlearn what we have learned. And we do that at Brains on Fire every day. We don't cookie cutter approach anything. We start out from scratch every single time. And I think we all need to do that with whatever we're doing in our life. So the marketing business, I believe, is the people business. And if we're in the people business, that means we're in the love business. It's people that buy products. People make an unknown brand known. It's people that start working together that turn a cause into a crusade. And so we have to remember that no matter what Facebook wants us to think, that we're really in the love business, because I don't think we're going to get far in the hate business, and we're really not going to get far if people just like us. We need people to love us. Sometimes they will hate you too, and I'll talk about that in a second. So passion is about destiny. And my version of destiny is when peanut butter and jelly comes together. That's like perfect. But things happen today because of technology. We get kind of screwed up. How many of you like Back to the Future, the movie? Okay.
Lorraine, my density has brought me to you.
What?
Oh, what I meant to say was...
Wait a minute. Don't I know you from somewhere?
Yes, I'm George McFly. I'm your density. I mean, your destiny.
How many times do we make mistakes out there in social media? It's really easy to get amplified, but we're having a really hard time being authentic. And just like George was trying to find a way to talk to Lorraine, so Marty helped him with the words, it got all screwed up. And that happens a lot of times when we're trying to communicate with our customers. We put tools and tactics first instead of understanding how we fit into the lives of their customers. Where do we share values? Where do we do that? We're able then, I think, in a way, not be able to have such conversations like George was having with Lorraine. So, because passion in marketing is really like a love story. Passion is that thing that this carries through all love and all love stories that you think of, and that's what goes there. And so passion is not something you own. It's something that you pass forward and you pass on. And I heard this as we were doing Insight on one of our projects. A guy was telling me, and this was about fitness and trying to work with folks that really had health issues. And he said he tries to get his employees to pass on the passion to the other person. And that's really it is. If we're passionate about something, we really don't hold on to it. We want to infect others with that. We want them to feel the same way. And that's something we have to remember. So we have a love language problem, marketers do, because we think transactional, we get caught up in ROI. We forget some of these things. So there's a love language problem, and we don't really know why people are motivated to talk and share. So if we understand why people talk, you have a greater chance of sparking people to talk about how you fit into their lives. Because that's what we do today. We decide now social media channels are our channels. They're not a brand's channel. They're not a product's channel. They're not an organization's channel. They're people's channels. So we decide what we want to lead into our lives. So if we do understand why people talk, we have a greater chance of inspiring them to talk. So there is help, because I do think our role as marketers is matchmaking. We are the village storytellers. We're marketing cupids. We bring people together, and it is an honor for us to be able to do that for our clients. It's an honor that our role is to connect our customers with their employees and customers through shared passions. And that's a beautiful thing that we have an opportunity to do. So marketers don't decide what gets talked about today. People do, because it's in our hands, and we can do it with that. So just some numbers to think about, and it's pretty amazing when you look at this, that advertising only prompts 22% of all conversations people have about a brand, a product, and a service. So that leaves 78% of the conversations out there that aren't related to advertising. So that's a giant playground of touch points that we're leaving off the table when we're trying to do whatever it is that we're doing. So I believe in word-of-mouth marketing. And what is that exactly? Because sometimes people think it is just social media, but it's online and it's offline. And really the definition that we talk about for word-of-mouth is any business action that earns a recommendation from a customer. And that's kind of easy to manufacture. But what really happens, and I think that's what you guys are doing, is you're trying to tie it to a relationship. Because a relationship has to exist for people to really trust it and for people to put their time, their blood, and their personal social currency out there. If they really believe in it, that's what it's going to take to do that. So the best word of mouth is how a company does business every single day. It's not just your tactic. It's just not your tweet. It's not your Facebook. There's something you do in business that is creating word of mouth. And that's what you need to think on instead of tools and tactics. So we're all in grad school. There's no social media experts. There's no gurus. I know some people have them as titles. But we're all learning every day. And if we're not a lifelong learner of marketing today, we're in trouble because it changes every day. And so I'll share a little geekiness. I'm a geek for word of mouth research and what motivates people to talk and share. This is a paper that was done between researchers in Israel and the United States. It's called Own Brands and Word of Mouth. It came out in 2011, and it's been reintroduced in 2013. And it's pretty amazing because why people are motivated to talk and share is not rocket science. It's actually something that you guys will probably go, okay, I know this. It's just I haven't thought of it in this way. So how many of you took chemistry in high school? Or I failed it, but I did remember the periodic table. And that helped me to go through. John Moore, who's a coworker of mine, we wanted to take this research, we put it in the book too, but we wanted to find a way to make it easy for all of us to understand because it is so geeky and nerdy and full of quotations and mathematical equations more like it. But it comes down to this. There's 3 triggers as to why we talk and share. There's the functional trigger, there's the social trigger, and there's the emotional trigger. So the functional trigger is how we share information. It's the nuts and bolts of the conversations that we have. I have a Mini Cooper. I'll tell you it has 6 airbags, gets 38 miles to a gallon. I was in a bad car wreck. It saved my life. Those are functional things about it. But what I really love about it is it's cool, it's fun to drive, it's got a really cool instrument panel. But I'll start out having a functional conversation about why I chose that car. So people have these conversations that are functional to help them get information and make decisions in how to interpret the world. That goes back to the caveman. They wrote on the wall, go here for water. If you go here, you're going to get eaten. It was functional. That's what we had back then. The other trigger, which is a little more involved, which is very interesting, is how we socially signal our uniqueness to people out there. It shows, we signal things that express our distinctiveness, our knowledge, our expertise, and we do it all the time. So, I think you can see this. We do it when we wear things like Patagonia. This is in, I don't know how much, this is here because I saw a store. I'm BMW, I'm a Tom's Shoes person. I wear these. They give a pair of shoes away to somebody in need. Even Starbucks, as much as that is seen, people walk around with a cup all the time. That is a social signal. That shows something about what we're into. So this is all around us. It is about tattoos. Maybe you're a Coach purse, Louis Vuitton, whatever that is, women. There's a lot of social signals. Your shoes, everything, just think about it. Maybe you're into pickup trucks. That's a social signal. It doesn't have to be tied to a brand and an icon. So we engage in these social conversations about brands and organizations to impress others, to say, look at me, look at me, look at what I do, because what that does is that connects us to somebody else. And that's part of our DNA as a human being. The last trigger is emotions, and it's how we show emotions. And think about it, they're very extreme. We love and hate, shock and awe. We laugh and we cry. We have real extreme emotions. So that's going to lead to something else here. So brands that evoke a strong emotion, they're going to be more likely to be talked about. When we're overjoyed and excited, we tell people. When we're disgusted, we tell people. When we're indifferent, we don't tell anyone. So today, if we're not remarkable and we don't deliver on these, we don't earn their conversation. Because that's just the price of entry today. We have to be pretty remarkable to have people talk about us. So here's something interesting. Jonah Berger, who wrote a fantastic book called Contagious, is a researcher and a teacher at Wharton School of Business. And what he found is that emotions play a key role in how we share an experience. So if we have emotional arousal, if we're angry or we're really, really happy, we tell people about it. If we're actually walking and we're up doing something, we'll share something that's really kind of boring. But if we're sad or we're indifferent or we're sitting on the couch, we don't share that much. So emotional arousal plays a key role in here. So the interesting thing about this is the research found that we talk about these things differently in the channels that we have the conversation. So online, this is Megan, who's our traffic manager. She's real cute, and this is her cute little avatar. So brands are talked about different, online, offline. When we're offline, this is a very private conversation. So you can see me directly. So we're likely to express things that are very personal and emotional with us when we're having these face-to-face offline conversations. But when we're online, it's public. A lot of people can see us. You know, it's very voyeuristic. It's very lurker-esque. So we have to try hard to show how unique we are, what we're into. Look at me, because it's very public and we're fighting with millions of people out there. So what do you think would be the number one driver for offline conversations based on that? Any guess? Functional, social, emotional? Just you can roulette, pick one. What do you think? Emotional? God, you're good. Yeah. Offline motivation, social is good, functional's better, but emotional is best because I can see you. I can see your eyes. I can see you with your hands talk. I can know if you're telling me the truth. I can tell if you're really, really happy or you're really, really not. But what happens is online is the opposite. Online, emotional's good, functional's better, and social is best. Because here, online, I have to really project something. I have to really get your attention. I might have to use my avatar and put something that's really, really interesting to me to make you see that I'm an interesting person. And it doesn't in there. I didn't put it in here. But the interesting thing here is what happens is what the research found is we have what's called continuous conversations and discontinuous conversations. So when we're together, we have a continuous conversation. Because if we were having dinner and you said, actually you asked me about happiness. What's your happiness scale? I couldn't wait 5 minutes to answer it. I had to do it right now because we were having a continuous conversation. So I said 8 to 10. But online, I can wait forever. I've got to think of something really smart to say so you won't think I'm a dumbass. So I'm going to wait. Okay, now I'm going to tell you. So that discontinuous conversation, we decide how good we want to look or how unique we want to sound. And that's the difference between those channels. That's really, really interesting. So anyone heard of Warby Parker? Andrew? You guys, do you have them by chance? They make eyeglasses. I want to kind of run them through the emotional, functional, and social channel for you. Warby Parker, startup eyeglass company a couple of years ago, and they're doing unbelievable. They just sold their 500,000th pair of eyewear, but they're doing it very differently because instead of costing $300 and $400 for a pair of glasses, they cost less than $100, but they look just as good. But they also do something unique. There's no store that you could go into and buy them. You had to buy them online. So that was a functional issue. How am I going to know if these glasses are going to look good on my face? So they created a program called the Home Try-On program. So you go online, you pick your 5 glasses, they send them to you. You have 5 days to try on 5 pairs of glasses and see what your friends think. And that's cool, but they even do a little bit better because people now, they put their stuff online like Kate says, probably my creepiest Instagram ever, but I did the Warby Parker Home Try-On. Which glasses should I buy? They're prescription. I'm not a douchebag. And they actually provide stylists to help people do this. But this is social signaling, as well as it starts to become emotional because when we feel like we look good and when we feel good, we tell people about it. And people are putting online and sharing, look at me, look at my glasses, look how great I look. But they're also saying, look at me, at how smart I am because I didn't pay $300 like this guy. I mean, his cat is just in love with his glasses. But his comment on this post, his Instagram was, I only paid $100 for these glasses and they're amazing and my cat loves them. So, that's an emotional conversation that we have there. But the biggest thing is that for every pair of glasses they've sold, they give away a pair free. So they've given away 500,000 pairs. And what's happened here is they're the brand for millennials, and they are scaring the hell out of the eyeglass industry because the millennials see this as a cause. They might not have a lot of money to give, but if they can spend $100, which is the average gift of a millennial, on a pair of glasses and get a pair free, that's amazing. So today, your brand is more than your logo. It is more than your label. It is a lens. And that lens is what people want to look through to see what you stand for. Do you have secrets in your closet? And some brands do. So I don't think you have these here because I showed this the other day and people were totally dumbfounded by this. This is people will line up around a store for this in America. And this is functional as it gets. A butter bun, a fried piece of chicken, and 2 pickles. Would you stand in line for that? No? Okay. I got the same reaction the other time. You're like, Americans are idiots. Well, we are. But this is what a brand has been built on. That's a huge brand in the States. And that brand is Chick-fil-A. Anyone heard of Chick-fil-A? They're huge. When they open up a store, you can't get in. And they do some amazing things. It's a functional product. They make a chicken sandwich and they make a waffle fry. And then they make other products. They don't sell anything but chicken. And they've been able to build quite a business on that. And there's a lot of social signaling because for some reason people love to take pictures of their waffle fry that looks like a heart, and they like to pose with their chicken things. I mean, hundreds of thousands of photos out there. But more importantly is how they broke the schema of their advertising because they only sell chicken, right? So their spokesperson is going to be a cow. So you don't eat cow, you eat chicken. And that's maybe that's an American thing, but that's the twist. So we get people to dress like a dress like a cow, so you can get free chicken. And that's what we do. So people dress like cows, and it doesn't matter. The more stupider you look, the better it is. And this happens all over the United States. Every time these open, people do the cow day. They dress up like a cow, and they get free chicken. But an interesting thing happened. So remember what I said about Jonah Burger. Chick-fil-A is a brand built on a moral principle. They're closed on Sunday. So it's the day to be able to worship. It's the day to be able to spend time with your family. That's a very Southern thing. And they're closed on Sunday. But Dan Cathy, a year and a half ago, made an unfortunate mistake. As more states, like Massachusetts was the first one to legalize gay marriage, he spoke out and said that is the downfall of our country. And it was like all hell broke loose. Because remember, today, people have power. Remember what Jonah Burger said, love and hate. So this high arousal really brought the attention to where they were actually getting ready to open a store in Massachusetts, and the governor of Massachusetts shut down the building permit over what he said. And you had people rallying for Chick-fil-A saying, we support Chick-fil-A, we support you for what you do. And then you had this. Because today, a brand is more than a logo, it's more than a label, it's a lens, and people want to see what's behind it. They're going to love you for it, and they're going to hate you for it. But sometimes today, and I think brands today, strong brands, have to stand for something. The good thing about this is now the one side, the gay and lesbian side, reached out and said, let's work on this together, and they're changing things. And this wouldn't have happened in a way. It maybe was a good thing because this is forcing them to change. But this is the best example for what happens with emotional conversations today. God hates, God bless. And these are picketing right next to each other, which is insane. So people want to know what's behind the brand. It is a lens today. And what Dan Cathy said became what people thought of the brand. It was really hard for me. I love Chick-fil-A. I went 3 months without eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich. I know that sounds incredible to you guys because you are just waiting to have one. But I was actually traveling to speak in Kansas City, and I broke down. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I was in the drive-thru, and this guy rolled down and called me like every name in the book. I'm like, dude, it's my first chicken sandwich in like 3 months. So anyway. So I want you guys to meet my friend Rob Morris. And Rob came to us. He's in New Haven, Connecticut, had heard about us. Half of our work is not-for-profit work. And that's what inspires me the most, is being able to try to work with people and try to find social change to help our customers that are in the world of changing people's lives. And that's what Rob is about. So he had no money, but he flew down to Greenville and he wanted to tell us a story. And I want to share that with you guys. He's got a huge challenge. He wants to stop child sex slavery and sex trafficking. A huge, huge problem. He doesn't want to make a dent in it. He wants to end it. And that's what he came to do. But he had a big problem. The name of his organization was Justice for Children International, and he was just charged with a cease and desist order because there was another organization with the same name. So he came to us and he said, we've got to change our name. We have no money, but I think you're our only hope because we really need help. And so he shared with us a story. And on one of Rob's trips to the Philippines, he had to pretend to be the very thing that he despised. And that was a man going into a brothel to have sex with an 8 to 12-year-old girl. And I don't know if you know how the brothels are ran in the Philippines, but you go into this room, and all these men gather around one little window. And you look through it, and all these young girls are sitting around, of all things, a television, watching cartoons. All the girls have on a red dress, and each one has a number, and you just choose the number. I want that one, that one, that one. It's that inhuman. And no girl would look at these men through the window but one. And she just kept peering back out through the window. And it hit Rob that she had to be new to the brothel because she still had hope. She still had life in her eyes. And he was never able to find out her name, but he said, I will never forget her number, and that was 146. And so when he told us that, of course, we were in tears, and I have to fight it back every time I tell the story. And we said, that's your name. It's got to have 146 into this because we've got to get her story told. Because the problem most of the time with an organization and a brand is we want to keep control of everything. But Rob knew the only hope that they had was to give up control. And to not be the ones that tell the story. We have to have other people, like all of you in this room, to tell her story. So thus, Love 146 was born. Rob used to say that, or he says today, that he used to fly to the Philippines and you're sitting next to someone for 16 hours and they'll say, well, what do you do? And he said, I work for Justice for Children International. And they go, okay, and they never ask him another question. But now when he says Love 146, thus a story is born. And that person shares her story over and over and over. And it's been amazing what's happened. So one thing to remember here is that 90% of word of mouth that leads directly to a recommendation and a purchase happens offline. It's not online. And this was what we tried to do here. We tried to replicate this patch that was done like that girl wore, and it's amazing what's happened. Paramore, anyone know Paramore? They wear it wherever they play. They wore it on the MTV Music Awards, and they did a fundraising tour in the Philippines for the safe houses where these girls live. And the interesting thing here, millennials and young women have just done amazing things. They do photo essays, they make Valentine's Day cards, they do cupcake events. And this young girl here did 146 days of photographs related to love on her Flickr channel. And it's been amazing what has happened from here. People get tattoos. And what Rob says, and I think this is brilliant, and it's what happens today because of social media. We have these moments, these spasms of passion. We're going to tweet that, we're going to Facebook that, and then it's over. And that's what those are. Those are spasms of passion. And what we need is a collective shout. We need something far greater for the things that really need social change to have any hope at all. We don't need a spasm of passion. We need to create collective shouts. So the beautiful thing that came out of this too, 160 task forces across the world fighting this, and they're making a difference. We are Denning. We actually have folks that get on a moped and get to the village to try to educate the village elders that their children aren't going into the big city to work. They're going in, male and female, to become a prostitute. And they're having to intervene, and that's dangerous, but they're doing that on the ground with these task forces' help. So a few results, their donations have tripled. And this was something that was very difficult for an NGO, a non-government organization, to change their name to something like Love 146. But thank God, because now everyone can tell her story, so it's easier to pass it on. So people, I think all of us, want to be treated far more than just a number today. And as a client and as a customer, we want to end up here. We want to end up being on that brand or that organization's refrigerator. We want them to think of us as a friend and a family member. And we have an opportunity to do that because now that we have control, we don't have to listen to anything unless we want to listen to it. We really, really do. I mean, so we control this. Fantastic book. I put this in at the last minute. Dave Logan, Tribal Leadership, because he says it the best, and it goes to this whole idea of influence, is birds flock, fish school, and we tribe. That's what we do. And so I put this up. This is it's something that's is just out of the top of my head that I'm still working on, but the new world of marketing is personal. It's not about technology, the platforms, or the social media doodads. After all, at the end of the day, we're all in the people business. That's what we're all. Understanding passion provides actionable insights that empower marketers to authentically connect with the people who love their brands. And these relationships and conversations lead to sharing because they put people, not the brand, first. And that's why people share. We're very narcissistic today. I mean, even I feel that way. I'm Instagramming the shit out of everything because I want people to see how beautiful your country and your city is. But in a way, it's like, well, why do you care that I now know what a long black and a flat white is. But now I know. And I'm not embarrassing myself at Starbucks anymore. So I'll leave room for questions. I know I tried to do something that was kind of abbreviated and just put one case study in, so I hope it was worth your while coming out this morning. And I do have some giveaways. Thank you.